Life is so busy and there are so many demands on our time. And often there are so many pressures from other people, pressures that we put on ourselves as parents and carers. And I don't know about you, but I often get to a Sunday evening or a Monday and I look at the week ahead and I often get overwhelmed by the to-do list, overwhelmed by the tasks in front of me. And we here at Kitchen Table Project often talk about making the most of the everyday moments, to really bring faith into the everyday moments. But even sometimes we need to be intentional in looking for those windows in our everyday lives, to really look at the windows in our everyday moments. And each week there are tasks to be done. But I have been so challenged to, as I look at the task ahead, to also look at the opportunities in the task to create windows to spend time together with my children. So a regular weekly task that I would often have to do is the post office. And I've simply now changed from going to the post office during the day to actually doing it after the school run and making the trip to the post office an adventure. And it's funny how just by simply making that slight shift now, the children are often after school going, "Dad, are we going to the post office?" And I know not every task we do can be a task we do with our children. But it also takes a moment to maybe take a step back and go, what are the tasks that we can do together? And actually make it part of our day. And we have great conversations, we play games, we maybe sometimes pick up a donut on the way from the post office. Maybe that's why my children love doing it. But it's actually a great moment we get to spend time together. And I, for my role, often I travel. And I noticed that a couple of weeks ago, I actually came home from work. I'd been away all day and I got home just before bedtime. And as I pulled up, I remembered that I needed to send an email. So I thought I'll just do it as soon as I get in the house. So as soon as I opened the door, my kids greeted me and they were so excited to see me. And they wanted to tell me about the day. They wanted to play together. But I needed to send that email. So I quickly went into the kitchen, opened up my laptop, and I just sent that email. And tasks need to be done. And sometimes things we need to do even when everyone else wants to do other things. But it was interesting in that moment. It changed the atmosphere. It changed the moment from it being a playful moment, being a moment where everyone was excited, to actually a moment where it was quite stressful because I had to tell my kids to leave me in the kitchen so I could send this email. And what was really interesting, a couple of days later, as I'm driving back onto our housing estate, again been away for I think a couple of days this time, and I thought, oh no, I need to send an email again. But do you know what I did? I actually parked at the car just around the corner. I quickly got my laptop out and just took a moment to send that email, took a moment just to kind of park work, to do all those tasks that I had to do. So as soon as I opened the door, I could be present. I could make the most of those moments with my kids. I know it doesn't always turn out like that, but a real challenge to me is sometimes taking a step back to go, okay, how can I make the most of those moments? See, there will always be things to do, but how can we capture those little spontaneous moments where it doesn't look perfect, where it doesn't look like we think it should, but it allows us to make the most of those moments, to make memories with our kids? And a challenge for me, I need to be okay with it not looking perfect. It's okay that it looks messy. And I've been really thinking about this whole idea of these two very little words, the why and the how. So often we focus on the how. How do we make the most of these moments? How do we make the most of bringing faith at home? And they are really important questions, and there are some great ways that we can make the most of those moments. But I've been really challenged of really, before even getting to the how, is looking at the why. Why is it important I spend time with my kids? Why is it important I model faith? And when I answer those why questions, and there's many other why questions, but when I start looking at the why and not just the how, then actually I start to make the most of the spontaneous moments. I start realising that actually that moment where I have a choice to watch the football or to play Peppa Pig, that actually I look at the why. And you know what? Watching the football is okay. But actually, how can we look at the why and not just the how? Once we look at the why as being important, we won't wait for that perfect Instagrammable moment, but we will make the most of the moment today. even if it looks messy, even if it is inconvenient. Because the how will often change. The how I make the most of the moments with my 6.5-year-old is different to how I used to make the most of them when she was 2. And as our children grow older, and as our children maybe are now in full-time school, the how we make the most of those moments do look different. The spontaneous moment maybe looks like on the way to school, or maybe it looks like staying up 10 minutes extra on a Friday night and actually having that conversation, or maybe playing that game as a family. So let's not just look at the how we make the most of those moments, but we also look at why we want to make the most of those moments. So I pray that this is a blessing, and just know that it won't always look like we think it should, but it is about making the most of those everyday moments.